choke on stream. What's up, people? What's up, people? Let me know if you can hear me. I'm using this handheld mic right now. Congrats. Thank you. Thank you. Brandon, I'm eating some Chipotle. It's the new brisket with guac. You having dinner? Yes, sir. Checking in from Hawaii. That's what's up. Damn. A lot of you guys in here. Thank you, everyone. I wanted to get suited up for this event. Bro's got the suit on. Dude, nowadays, like, I haven't worn my suit in a long ass time. So I'm like, you know what? This seems like the right occasion for it. Yo, I'm eating rice and beans right now. Nice. Where you going, man? I'm not going anywhere. I'm going anywhere. What's with the suit? Because I hit a mill. It's for this. What time is it for you? It's 9:57 p.m. right now. Mike sounds crispy. Perfect. Congrats on a milli. Thank you. Thank you. Y'all want to see what I'm eating? It's a Chipotle brisket bowl. Rolling like John Wick. I got the suit from Thailand, actually. It's like tailored to fit my butt. Excuse me. Excuse me. Allergies. But I got the suit tailored in Thailand. It costs like $200 US, which is really good. The place I went to was Michael Taylor. Ever gonna get to 140? I think that can be in the cards for sure. I think 145 would be pushing it, but I think 140 is in the cards. I'll probably be at a slightly higher body fat percentage for sure. But I think muscle-wise, that should be possible. Excuse me. Before the stream started, I like choked on my Chipotle, so I apologize if I'm going to be sneezing a lot. Todd got a trailer. I think I accidentally left that on. Oops. Usual combo for Chipotle is rice, chicken, beans, hot sauce. That's good. What I usually get is a burrito bowl. Here, clip this, right? What I usually get at Chipotle for good macros is burrito bowl with brown rice, black beans, fajita veggies. That's really important. Chicken, okay? Chicken is probably the best option from a macronutrient perspective. Mild salsa, medium salsa, corn, and lettuce, okay? So no cheese, no sour cream. Guac, I got guac this time, but, you know, if you're feeling indulgent, that could be a good option. If you're bulking, that could be a good option. But that's how I do my order. How tall are you? Guess how tall I am. Chat. How tall do you guys think I am? Five 5'8", 5 feet, 5'6", 5'3", 6'3", 5'7". I'm 6'3". I'm playing. I'm 5'6", so 169 centimeter. And a lot of people lie about their height. I don't lie about my height. I'm like actually 5'6", which means think about the average person that says they're 5'8". That's how tall I actually am. A lot of people lie about their height. What's your current body fat? That's a good question. I don't know for certain, but my scale says I'm around like 9%, but I don't think I'm 9. I'm probably closer to like 11. I'm leaner around. I think I'm a solid 10 right now, I would say. Bro has that on. Yes, sir. How you guys like the suit? It's tailor-made. Got the peak lapels. So if you guys see on a normal suit, it's usually just like a divot, like a triangle divot like that. But this one is vertical. They call that peak lapel. It also has 2 pockets right here. So put that down. See that? Has a lower pocket and then a ticket pocket. Sorry, my crib's a mess right now, but I'm actually gonna be moving out of here in a month. So New Zealand, India, Philippines. Man, we got the whole world in here. Let your formal suit and show arms, show gains. Oh, that looks really underwhelming. All right, I'm gonna catch up to the chat. Guns are hung in the sleeves too. No, for real, bro. What is your work? This, baby. Tyler, what's your PR on all 3 major lists? Ooh, good question. So, believe it or not, I have never PR'd on squat. I never tried a 1 rep max before. But at my highest, I was able to, I'll give you a couple numbers. I was able to do 295 for 6 and then 275 for 8. But I never really pushed further than that. This was back in freshman year of college. That was actually peak strength for me for legs. And then deadlift, I failed 405. But I feel like at my peak, I probably could have gotten it. But peak being the same time, freshman year of college when I was running track and field, I was consistently doing, let me think, 315 plus 30. I was consistently doing 345 for like 5 reps. So I think back then I probably could have been able to do 405, but that's all talk. I haven't actually done 405, but I was always like scared to do 1 rep maxes, just because I was fearful to get injured. And then for bench press, I've done 245. That I feel like I can do heavier. I think my lifetime goal is to eventually hit 2 times body weight. So that would put me around like 270, right? So this is rounding up 275, even clean number. But we'll see if that ever happens. But also 245, like I don't think I'm good at 1 rep maxes because I've never powerlifted, right? So I think my multiple rep maxes are probably more impressive. So I was able to do like 225 for 4. I think that should probably translate to 250 at that time. 205 for 7 is the most I've done. No, 6. 205 for 6. Yeah. And 185 for 10 is what I've done. So, you already know. I've been like 135 pounds forever. Maybe freshman year when I was squatting and deadlifting, hitting, when I was at my strongest for leg day, I was pushing 140. But yeah, most of the time I've pretty much been same weight across those lifts. Any advice for optimum rep of highest intensity? So if you're going to be training all the way to failure, ideally you want to limit the amount of reps you do to for sure under like 10 reps, right? Because if you go much further, think of it this way. The more demanding and bigger of a movement you're doing, so think about compound movements, that sort of thing, as really demanding, the lower in reps you generally should be training. And if you're going to be training to failure pretty consistently, I always say stay within like the 5 to like 8 rep range. Okay. If you're looking for like a big lift, if you're doing something a little heavier, let's say like bicep curl or something a little bit more like isolation exercise, a smaller lift, think about like lateral raises, bicep curls. I would say under 10. So push it to like, let's say 8 to 10 reps. But yeah, that would be my advice. Tyler, do you read your comments? I try to, but there's just so many comments because I post so often. So it's hard for me to be on top of everything. But I do read a good amount, especially the long form videos. There's so many back workouts. I don't know which to choose. Can I just do all of them that I know? So back training gets complicated, or people overcomplicate back training. I would say the bread and butter thing is you want ideally like 3 types of movements, right? Let's start with vertical pulls. You want a vertical pull with your arms wide, okay? That's going to be your main, like, call it lower lat biasing movement. So lat pull down, wide grip lat pull down, like with the regular pronated grip bar, wide grip pull-ups, that sort of thing, right? And then the second thing you want is some sort of mid-back exercises row. So you want a wide grip row, okay? This is going to be mainly for your mid-back. So when people think of like back thickness, that's what mid-back implies, right? So that's your traps, rhomboids. Those are like the 2 main muscles. A lot of people think the traps is only up here, but no, like they're actually a huge muscle that involve like basically if you look at like your back and the part that you can actually squeeze together, partially that's the shoulder blades, but the superficial muscle that you see, that's the traps, right? But yeah, so we have a wide grip pull down. We have a wide grip row. The third type of movement, you get 2 options, right? You either want to do a pull down with your arms in front of you in the sagittal plane, is what they call it. So instead of a wide grip pull down, you want to do maybe like a mag grip. It can be a single arm kneeling pull down that people like to do, the JPG pull down, right? Or it could be a row with your arms tucked to the side of your body. This is going to be more of another lat exercise. It's going to be more of a upper lat exercise, as people call it. Those are the only 3 exercises you need. So that third one, you have an option, right? If you like rows more, you can do rows. If you like what do you call it? Vertical pulls more, you can do a vertical pull. So that's what I would say there. Show your jawline. Oh, I spilled a little bit of a Chipotle on my pants. Show your jawline. I'm naturally a mouth breather. So I don't know if you noticed in my videos, but sometimes when I'm explaining and stuff, or maybe not, maybe you didn't notice in my shorts, but in my long form, I keep my mouth open a lot. It's like a bad habit, right? I would just be like if I'm playing pickleball, my mouth is usually open. And I had this habit for a while. So you know what they say in the Mewing community, right? You know what they say about like if you're a mouth breather, you tend to not have a good jawline. I personally, genetically, I do not have a good jawline. I also tend to gain a lot of, I hold a lot of fat in my cheeks. So your boy wasn't blessed with good jawline genetics, unfortunately. Partially nurturing, right? Because I was mouth breathing, but it's okay. Prince asking the juicy questions. What made you use the Ecstasy song? Bro, that's what made me use it. Was that song was a banger. I actually love that song. I think to kind of explain how I like think about what sounds I use, most of the songs I use, right, originate on TikTok. And basically how the TikTok algorithm works is they prioritize videos that use sounds that are trending, meaning other people are using it at that certain time. So in like other people are like using it within the past, like let's say week and a half. And they're getting a lot of views for it, right? And Ecstasy was one of the only songs on TikTok that were trending, and I actually like really like the song. I also like the one Jason Derulo Frozy song. She says she from the island. I think that one's pretty good too. But those are the those are the two main ones. But I love the Ecstasy song. That's why I brought it back. You got a 5K tomorrow morning. What's your finish time? Let me guess. Let me think. 5 kilometers, like what, 3 point something miles, right? Let me look it up real quick. 5K time. Wait, sorry, 5K distance. So I can't see y'all right now. I'm looking this up. Okay, 3.1 miles. All right, so 3.1 miles. I think I can average probably like, I think I can average like 7 minutes a mile. So sometimes pretty like 21. I would say, I don't know about sub 20. That's what I would shoot for sub 20. Probably end up finishing within like 22 minutes is my guess. That's what I would guess. In track and field, though, I ran sprints, so I'm not a good long distance runner. Are you in college? And so, what's your major? Nah, I'm 25, bro. A lot of people think I'm like 18. I went to UIUC, though. University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign. Let's go gambling. Oh, dang it. Do you do cable flies before or after horizontal press? I usually do them after. I know some people like doing them before as like what they call like pre-activate the muscle, but that shit don't make sense to me, bro. if you're it's just gonna hinder your pressing strength, right? So some people say, oh, you know, you feel it more in your chest, you get a better pump. But like the pump really isn't, if you're training for hypertrophy, meaning you're training to try to build muscle, there's not a lot of, well, there's really no evidence suggesting that the pump, right? So when you're getting a lot of blood flow in the muscle from doing a lot of volume within a short period of time, there's no evidence suggesting that like is better for hypertrophy, right? So what does matter for hypertrophy though is you training hard enough and close enough to failure, okay? And generally speaking, I prefer starting with my heavier exercise like a horizontal press because I can progressive overload more consistently over time in the earlier exercises of the workout rather than the later ones. So if you're doing like cable flies before, it's just gonna be hard for you to progress. And I think progression does have like if you think about it, right, like if you're sticking to the same weight every single time, then and naturally, especially when you're a beginner, you'll naturally get stronger. You sticking with that same weight is actually you dropping your intensity over time, right? So progressive overload is almost like a byproduct of you making sure that you're training at the same intensity each time as your body makes the adaptations to get stronger. So yeah, that's essentially why. When did you start working out? When I was 16. Well, consistently when I was 16. First time I like started caring about working out, I was doing like bodyweight stuff, was like I was doing ab workouts at like 13. But first time I stepped in a weight room was 14, 8th grade. I like hurt my finger actually. Like, you know, the cable stack. I was using the leg extension. And then you know how you can like clamp your, like, you know how when you shorten the muscle, the cable stack goes up. Well, I had my finger in like the area in the cable stack area, and then it came down, and then it came like it basically snapped, not snapped my finger, but it like caught like this, like the skin of my finger and like pinched me. I remember it was not fun. Number one tip for health and wellness influencers. I think integrity is a big thing, right? I don't think never promote something that's like disingenuous, but can be, you know, better for marketing, right? Because I think people really see if like you're faking it. Okay, so like a good example is like fake natties, right? And it's kind of maybe more abundant in the fitness community, right, rather than like broadly health and wellness. But I think you can kind of say the same for like, let's say like people that like all their entire page is talking about keto, right? Keto diet. And, you know, they cherry pick studies and say, you know, this is the only way to be healthy. If you're eating sugar, it's so bad for you. But yeah, so I think the biggest tip really is just be genuine, have high integrity, and definitely like grind, right? Definitely be consistent with posting and everything. So at least that's everything I've done, and it's kind of working right now, you know. So why sometimes you post the same video over and over again? I actually don't post the same video over and over again. Maybe if you're talking about like I post on TikTok and Instagram, then YouTube, I repost my my videos across different platforms. But yeah, I don't really repost my videos. Maybe I've done it once before or something like that for like a sound activation, but are potatoes good carbs? Well, I mean, there's no such thing as like well, I'm assuming by good carbs you're meaning like more complex carbohydrates, and that would be yes. Potatoes are a pretty good source of carbohydrates, but I don't like using the word like good. But they are a source of carbohydrates that's also gonna keep you relatively full. It's not on the high end on the glycemic index, meaning it's not gonna spike your blood sugar, which a lot of doctors would deem as a a healthier type of potato. I would say sweet potatoes, especially like the regular orange ones, are even like quote unquote healthier because they have micronutrients in them, right? So if you think about macros, that's your carbs, fats, protein. But I think a lot of people in the fitness community don't really think about like micronutrients. So like vitamins, minerals, and a lot of these vitamins and minerals, like if you're deficient in them, you're not going to be able to perform as good as you can be, right? Or you're just not going to be as healthy. So the thing with sweet potatoes is they have so much vitamin A, like it's crazy. Like you can eat a potato, one sweet potato a day, I believe will give you like your daily recommended vitamin A intake, which is amazing. It's more so than like carrots. Please fact check me though. But from what I remember, that's what I said. I'm not a doctor, right? So this isn't medical advice, people. This is me rambling. There's a random dude in a suit on Saturday night talking to his computer, rambling. I know everyone is different, but how do I know if I'm doing everything correctly? I'm trying to build muscle, but I'm not gaining weight, but I seem stronger. Okay, I'm trying to build muscle, but I'm not gaining weight. I seem stronger. I'm sleeping good and eating well. So generally, you're only going to gain weight, at least in a significant manner. Well, first off, right, it depends on your time frame. Like if you've only been doing this for like a week, it's too short of a time frame. A month, I would even say like it's still kind of short, right? Like you want to give yourself some time, like at least like 3 months of consistent training. With that said, you're not going to see a lot of substantial like weight gain unless you're putting yourself in a caloric surplus. So it could be the case that like, you're eating well, meaning maybe like you're eating healthy, right? But you're just not eating enough, right? So if your goal is to gain weight, then technically, you should try to eat more. But if you're like, dude, I feel like I'm eating a lot. I'm full. I don't necessarily want to just like purely gain weight. Then I recommend honestly, like, don't fixate too much on the weight. Fixate more on like you said, your strength, right? So focus on your strength. You'll see that over a long period of time, like 6 to 12 months, that's when you're gonna notice that like as you get stronger, right? You should notice some muscle gains, especially early on, right? So. How long after you first started lifting do you see noticeable results? This one's tough. So, like, it's been 9.5 years, right? But I started lifting consistently my summer after sophomore year, going into junior year of high school. Okay, it was 2015, and I began in the summer. By the end of the summer, I felt like I saw a change, but I was able to confirm it because my friends on the bus would tell me, "Yo, Tyler, did you start working out?" And there's nothing more like, if these people didn't see me for 3 months, right? So them validating that and telling me that kind of ensured me that okay, no, I'm doing the right thing. So it was roughly like 3 months of course of like a summer period, a summer break. Um, Now keep in mind, it wasn't like this was like the first time I actually exercised or touched weights and stuff, right? I was running track and field, but freshman year and sophomore year of track and field, I wasn't taking the weight room that seriously. Okay, I was like, working out here and there, but it wasn't. It was definitely not serious, right? I was still like, I say that because I was still keeping pretty active though, right? I was doing sprints, so it wasn't like I was doing long distance or anything. I was lean, right? But yeah. Can you answer some questions that actually matter? Ranch or blue cheese? Oh man, that's tough. I don't like ranch at all. So I'd probably have to choose blue cheese. Is 3 pounds gained monthly good for bulk? I think that's quite aggressive. So I think obviously it depends on your height and your current weight. So how I like to think of it is go by like a percentage, right? So I think on the high end, you should be aiming for like 1% of your body weight per month on the absolute highest end. Okay. So if you're 100 pounds, which most people are over that, they should be looking to gain 1 pound, 1 pound per month. So you gaining 3 pounds in 1 month, probably overdoing it. Just my 2 cents, right? Because you're probably not 300 pounds. So I think I would say, half that amount, right? Aim for like 1.5 pounds gained in the month. Maybe even like you can push it to 2 pounds, but I think there is a diminishing return as you increase the amount of the surplus you're in. Where after you just continue to increase the surplus, the only big difference there is mainly fat gain, right? So let's say for every additional pound you put on, maybe like, and these are just like rough numbers to basically explain my point, but maybe like 80% of that is fat, but 20% of it is muscle, right? So maybe like, the first pound that you gain would be pretty good. Maybe it's like 60-40 or something, right? 60% muscle, 40% fat. Pretty good. But then, as you push it and you go 2 pounds gains per month, 3 pound gain per month, it becomes, like 80% fat, 20% muscle, right? So that's kind of what I mean. There's a diminishing return in the degree of the surplus you put yourself in. Now you get a lot of leeway when you're in beginner, and it never makes sense to dirty bulk, in my opinion. But if there is ever a time to bulk, it would, and this is like, you have to bulk in a very smart manner where like, what you're doing, meaning like, that you shouldn't just be like eating everything in sight, right? You should be in a small surplus. And like I mentioned, tracking your weight, aim for like, 1% per week, or sorry, per month, not per week. In the beginning, in your first year lifting, that's probably the best time to bulk. Because you actually get a little bit more leeway just because, it's still like novel for you to work out. What's your major in university? I study information systems and marketing. Order of exercises for back day. That really depends on your goal, right? So if your goal is to build your lats, probably want to start with a vertical pull, right? A wide grip vertical pull or a sagittal plane pull down. But if your goal is like, I want back thickness, I want to prioritize my traps, then maybe you should start for the rows, right? So I think a good rule of thumb is when you're ordering your workout, like ordering the exercise in your workout for any muscle, you want the most important muscles first, and then the lesser important to you later in the workout. So I know like another rule of thumb is like start with compound movements and like gradually go into isolation movements. Like I think that is generally good, right? When like you don't really like if you're like, dude, I don't really know which ones, like I don't know if my chest or triceps should be prioritized, like then in that case, yeah, start with the compound movements. So naturally you're going to start with like the chest exercise first and then move on to arms later. But if you knew, let's say hypothetically, right, like let's say for biceps, so usually there's two main things for upper body, right? It's like your chest, triceps, and front delts are linked. And then for back, it's like your back, rear delts, and biceps, right? So let's say your biceps were a lagging body part and you want to prioritize the biceps over your back, right? Ideally, you actually want to start with the bicep exercises first, in theory. Like if your main goal was to prioritize the biceps, right? You technically would want to do the bicep isolation exercise first, over the back exercise. Or at the very least, if you still want to do a compound movement, you can do like a bicep focused compound movement, like a chin up, right? Or like underhand grip, pull down or something, right? So yeah, when you think of exercise, or you just think of most important muscles first, most important muscles for you, the ones you want to prioritize first, and then the least ones later. Love that you're streaming. Congrats on one more. Thank you. Yeah, I'm having a good time. I appreciate y'all joining. Random question: do you game, bro? What kind of games do you play? I used to game a lot. I was always like, I actually never really played PC games. I play a lot of PlayStation, right? And dude, I love Call of Duty. There's a couple games I really, really liked. So way back in the day, I liked I really like playing Grand Theft Auto. So all the open world games, right? GTA, Saints Row, Jack and Daxter. If you guys know what that is, like Jak 2, Jak 3. But those were like my favorite games. And then when I got older, when I got my PlayStation 3, right? I really got into Call of Duty. So I was playing competitive multiplayer Call of Duty. I love that. I never really liked what do they call it? Like the Fortnite style stuff. Oh, what is that called? Like Warzone? I never really liked Warzone. I always like the regular competitive Call of Duty. I was an SMG. I used to love to rush and stuff. I was that kind of person. That's why. For those that Battle Royale, that's what I was talking about. So I didn't fuck with Battle Royale. Oop, I didn't swear. Sorry. But yeah, back in the day, that's why you if you hear the sounds I use a lot in my videos, I throw in some culture in the soundtracks I use, guys. So the background audio of my long form videos, I put a little bit of culture in there. New COD next month. I heard, aren't they on like Black Ops 6? That's crazy, bro. Jack and Daxter, yes, sir. W Saint Row, yeah. Best GTA, though, in my opinion, San Andreas. GTA San Andreas 2004. That game was absurd. Like, that's like the most ambitious game ever in the world. I think it's better than GTA 5, better than GTA 4. For them to be able to achieve that in 2004 is like mind-blowing, dude. Like, crazy. For those that never played GTA San Andreas, so imagine GTA 5, that big map, right? But you get 2 other cities as well. And they're all linked. You never have to like go through a loading screen. You can literally just do the freaking flying card sheet and then like go all the way over there. Okay. So yeah, Los Santos, right? Obviously that's like GTA 5 map, right? It's like Los Angeles. And then they had San Fierro, which as you can guess is San Francisco. And then they had Las Venturas, which was Las Vegas. And they even had the desert, like Death Valley and stuff. So man, that game was crazy. That was like nostalgia. Like I recommend any person, right, should play that game. Brother, just don't use the Watachi Wasta music in the shorts, please. Y'all don't like that? I thought you liked the song. Tyler, what do you say about getting stronger but not bigger? So I think chances are if you're natural, you don't really have to worry about getting too big. Okay. Especially if you're naturally skinnier. Okay. If you're a bigger individual, then maybe okay. Like in that case, you want to get to a lower body fat percentage. But even then, I don't think you ever have to worry about getting bigger. But if you're talking about like okay, like naturally, to get stronger means you have to push more weight, you have to progressive overload. You're probably training pretty intensely in order to push the needle and actually apply progressive overload. So like you will probably get bigger as well. But it's usually, you never really have to worry about that. Like when I hear people like, oh, I want to work out, but I don't want to get too big. Like, trust me, chances are you don't gotta worry about that unless you're like a Samoan, right? I had a friend in high school, big dude. He was just naturally big, right? So genetics play a factor, of course, but chances are, if you're not big as is, it's probably not a concern. Oh, I'm pretty full, guys. Man. Collab with Mike Israel, Jeff Nipper. I would love to. Oh my god, that'd be awesome. I watched Jeff Nippard long ago when he made his like first wave of videos. I think they're like all like 5-6 years old now. With his old intro. Dun, 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 dun. That was the first person I knew that had his own theme song in the fitness community. But yeah, Jeff Nippard's goated. Mike Israel too. Like his growth was insane, And I would hear his name said here and there over the past like 9 years, but like he just really came out of nowhere the past few years. So yeah, I would love to collab with both of them. And they're both short kings. So like all three of us short kings. What do you eat before a workout? Do you take pre-workout? So I do not take pre-workout. I actually don't recommend taking pre-workout. Not because it's not effective, because it probably is effective, especially if there's caffeine in it. But I don't think it's not worth the cost. And it's also not worth the negative side effects from taking pre-workout. And that is developing a caffeine dependency. That is not worth it, guys. What are you eating? For y'all joining late, I was eating Chipotle, the new brisket. New brisket flavor is pretty good. Time to oil up. It's 2 sets of 8 to 12 with max intensity 2 times per week, enough volume per muscle. So you're talking about 4 sets. I would try to get it up to like 8 sets. Okay. So 8 sets per week. So think about like 4 sets each 4 sets each session. Mike, you and Jeff are the bulk of my fans. I appreciate that, man. Congratulations. Thank you. Advice for a V taper. 1, get to a low body fat percentage. That's the number 1 thing you can do. You need to be in a low body fat percentage in order to have a strong V taper, especially shirtless. Number 2, lats. So technically with the taper, right? So you're talking about back width, which is generally going to be your lats. So that's going to be your pull downs. And then your sagittal plane pull down. So wide grip pull downs, sagittal plane pull down. So in front of your body, as well as rows tucked to the side of your body. Those last 2 can be kind of interchanged. So you don't need to do both of them in the same workout. But yeah, so basically lats. So we got low body fat percentage, we got lats. And then I think shoulders in general give you that cap look, right? So if you're training your shoulders, right, it will make you have a broader V taper. But the thing is, like, that would be really weird if you did all of that and then you had a small chest and like it's just like the chest was underdeveloped. So like honestly, the advice for V taper is literally just follow a really good workout program that has well-rounded volume. Make sure it has side delt, rear delt, front delt, and lats in it, right? And maybe it can be kind of prioritized. But still, you still should be training other muscles, right? You still should be training your triceps. You still should be training your biceps. You still should be training your chest. You still should be training your abs. Abs can grow as well, right? Depending on your genetics, especially when you get to a lower body fat percentage, it does make a difference. And of course, don't skip leg day, right? So. I've lost over 100 pounds first year and second year. I didn't care about weight too much and successfully did a recomp for the second year, gained muscle, look leaner, stayed the same weight. That is amazing, Eric. And that is exactly why I preach, like, it's good to know, it's good to know where your weight is at, but it shouldn't be the most important thing, right? You shouldn't like care too hard about it, right? And at the end of the day, if you're consistent, like, the thing is that's really the biggest thing, right? You can do things not perfectly, But if you're consistent for long enough, you will get there. Okay. And so that's why I'm always such a big preacher of like, okay, you got to enjoy what you're doing, right? Not only on the workout side, but in terms of like eating healthy, you have to be a little bit, be balanced with yourself, right? Always try to prioritize like healthier foods and stuff, but like don't completely restrict yourself to the point where it's like you're like fiending for food, right? Like, and because you want to take the diet slowly anyways, so chances are like you can probably get away with eating some dessert once a week or something. What should I do for cardio day tomorrow? Calvin, I'm gonna give you something in left field, okay? Make sure you bring your iPhone or like anything where you have access to internet and earphones, okay? So I want you to either do StairMaster or a walking treadmill session for, let's call it 30 minutes, okay? And then in the meantime, I want you to listen to something productive, something either about self-development, personal finance. It could be Andrew Huberman talking about, why omega-3s, fish oil is good for the brain. Anything self-development related that's outside fitness, I want you to do that while you're walking on the treadmill or StairMaster, okay? What's your height? I'm 5'6". StairMaster is rough. He did not want to hear that. I really liked it, though. I think StairMaster, because it's tough, it makes it better. Yeah. Can you work on mobility in the same session of your workout? Yeah, I don't see why not. I'd keep it to the end. You don't want to do any like static stretching before your workout if your goal is to prioritize muscle growth, because it's going to be hard for you to be able to like be as strong. Best tip for gaining weight faster. So chances are you don't really want to gain weight faster. Thing is, I spoke about this earlier. So perhaps rewatch the live stream later. But TLDR, the most you really want to be gaining weight at, if we have to put like a number to it, is 1% of your body weight per month. Okay. So usually people are going to be around 100 to 200 pounds, right? If you're trying to bulk, probably closer to the 100-pound side. So chances are you only need to be gaining like a pound to 2 pounds per month. You made the Jubilee episodes feel so balanced and real. Thank you, man. I appreciate you guys being very supportive on the Jubilee thing, because honestly, looking back, like I think it was a shame that I didn't talk as much. But to be completely honest, like I didn't have much to say just because of the direction the conversations went. So I found it like hard for me to try to interject myself. When people are just like, like other people are just like, spewing like the craziest stuff. So I don't know. Tyler, how to get over my ex. So, Junie, the good thing about this, I will tell you, time is the biggest thing that can heal all wounds, right? So, you have to be patient with yourself. Now, what does patience mean? Like, you don't want to hear that, right? What does patience actually mean? So, something Alex Hormozy says is patience is really just you finding something else to do to kill the time until you finally eventually get to that time, right? It's keeping yourself busy, okay? That's why a lot of people, like, they get into working out because it keeps themselves busy. Obviously, it releases endorphins too, so there is like a mental health aspect of it that's beneficial. But I think the biggest thing, right, like after a breakup, if you really think about it, is okay, like, you probably feel like you're in a vulnerable spot, but you're also very moldable, right? And I think that can be a good thing for some people, but also a bad thing. And you should do everything in your power to make it a good thing. And what I mean by that is like really dive into whatever, like outside relationship stuff, whatever you want to accomplish in life, like really try to go for it, right? An example would be like, let's say, you broke up. Right now you're down bad and everything, but you want to care about your health. You want to look better. You want to feel more confident. So then you start working out, right? So that's always a good thing. But like, yeah, I think you can do more than that, because I think everyone thinks about that, right? Like, you want to work out after a breakup, but I think working out, having a nice physique, right? It only gets you so far. It is beneficial in general, like in a very general way. It is helpful, but it's never gonna like you're not gonna find love by just working out and getting a good physique, right? And like your life isn't gonna be perfect because of that, right? I think it's a combination of things. Health is one pillar, but I think personal finance is also another big pillar, right? So making sure that you're putting yourself in a situation where like financially you are stable, you're able to have enough for retirement, have enough to support your parents, whatever it is, right? Whatever situation you're in, get your money up. And I think if you focus on those two things, right, those are kind of like easy ones, and it'll keep you pretty busy, but yeah, I mean, that's just my 2 cents. That's what I tend to focus on. So. Okay, real talk. Best tip to stop fapping. Another thing is the busy thing. So this is another example. Keep yourself busy, right? So that like, if you're tired at night, you can just fall asleep. Or like, force yourself that you have to like wake up early, right? So yeah, that's why I say that. Chewbacca, I love that name. Hey man, I appreciate what you do for a better society. Thank you, man. That's actually really, really nice comment. I appreciate that. How much sleep do you get on average? 8 hours. Well, so 7 to 8 hours. I always try to get towards the 8-hour mark, and something I like as recent as a month ago, I really started prioritizing my sleep again because I noticed I was getting closer to the 7-hour mark. Back in the past, like when I was growing up in high school, even college, I was the type of person that like, I'm like, oh, I need my 8 hours, right? I would usually average between the 8 to 9 hour mark. Okay. And ever since I went full-time content creation and social media, I've been busier, right? It was a little stressful. And my sleep has actually gone down, right? So it's gone from 8 to 9 hours to now it's really closer to like 7 to 8 hours. Okay. So I think the big thing is really going to be trying to hit that 8-hour mark no matter what. I know some people say, oh, I'm good off 6 hours and stuff, but like, no, like everyone in this planet should aim for 8 hours of sleep. It's the type of thing that a lot of people like kind of take for granted. They're like, oh no, I'll be fine. But and some people would be like, I've been sleeping for 5 hours forever and I still feel fine. But it's just you do not know how good you'll actually feel when you're sleeping on 8 hours. It's almost like you're gonna be like overpowered, compared to where you are now. So definitely prioritize sleep. It is one of the most important things in life. If you're scared to drink, here's the thing, right? Here's some food for thought. If you're scared if you're scared to drink Diet Coke because it has aspartame, and aspartame is classified as a carcinogen, a class 2B carcinogen, well, you'd be hard pressed to find that. In that case, you definitely should be aiming to get 8 hours of sleep, because getting less than, I believe, 7 to 8 hours of sleep is actually considered a class 1 carcinogen, which class 2B, the aspartame, means there's a possible link between the substance and cancer, but a class 1 carcinogen is like 100%, not 100, but like it is fairly certain that it will increase your risk of developing cancer. So sleep is extremely important, guys, for everything, for gains, for getting taller. For you guys that are pretty young, like you want to get good sleep to reach your full potential height. Trust me, it's not fun if you don't. But yeah. Is 7.5 that bad? I don't think it's that bad, but you should try to aim for 8. I recently bought a sleeping mask too to cover my eyes, because it might be the case that you're like sleeping in total, like you go to bed at midnight and you wake up at 8 or 7:30 and you're like, okay, that's 7.5 to 8 hours sleep. But if you're waking up in the middle of the night, you can kind of kiss, like, in that case, you should oversleep to compensate for that, right? So that's why I bought a sleeping mask. It has actually been really, really good for helping me to like not wake up in the middle of the night. Tyler, how can you manage acne when bulking? It's hitting me hard. Okay, so I never bulked, but I dealt with a lot of acne. Like, sorry, I got sneeze, bro. Excuse me. Sorry. Um, I dealt with a lot of acne when I was growing up as a teen, and even now, like I still get acne today. I was a person in college that still got a ton of acne, so I know how you feel, man. Acne sucks. I think the biggest thing you can do to reduce acne, from what I found, is limit the amount of like refined sugars you consume. So just limit the amount of sugar you consume, as well as dairy. Okay, I think those two things alone, like on the diet side, is going to be like the biggest. At least it made the biggest difference for me. Okay, so every time you think, oh, I really want this, sugary thing. I really want this, dairy thing. Think to yourself, no, it's going to cause me to get more acne, and that really helped me to avoid that. Okay, so that's one thing. Think about whey protein too, right? So you probably don't want to consume like whey concentrate. You either, if you want to stick to whey, you should be consuming something like hydrolyzed whey, like clear whey, for example. My protein CoT path, by the way. But no, but you probably want to consume a more like refined version of whey protein that's going to contain less lactose. So yeah, like whey isolate, hydrolyzed whey, or like literally a vegan source of protein. It could be whey forward too. Whey forward is actually not real whey, right? They cultivate it using fungi, so I believe there's like virtually no lactose in it. But yeah, so diet, that's one end. I know I'm getting a lot of comments, but I'm gonna take my time on this because, dude, like I like acne sucks, dude. Like I completely understand it. It's like the most annoying thing to deal with. So that's one thing. Okay. Second thing I'm gonna talk about is like hygiene. Okay, making sure you're washing your face probably twice per day, right? When you wake up in the morning, and then when you sleep, and then possibly a third time, if you're like working out in the middle of the day, right? It's like naturally though, like, after you work out, you probably should shower, so you're probably doing that already. But yeah, making sure you're washing your face, making sure like your like pillows and stuff, like changing the pillow sheets, right, and changing the blanket. So do that like at least once per. I would say once per week is a good thing. You don't have to do any more than that. But that can also kind of limit the bacteria that's like on the sheets and stuff and can be contributing to acne. Um, so we talked about diet. We talked about hygiene. Last thing, okay, is skincare routine. Okay, so I alluded to a little bit about washing your face, but you don't want to just use like a bar of soap. Okay, you want to use an actual like a facial cleanser. I love Korean skincare. And I used to use a lot of Western products, so like American products, and then I switched over to Korean skincare, and like, look, it made the world of difference to me. Right now, all you see is oil because I'm naturally oily. But I recommend the Etude House Sunjung Whip Cleanser. I think that's a really good cleanser. But honestly, like I think the COS RX one's pretty good too. Okay, so the COS RX, like it's like the white and yellow and blue. It's like the Good Morning cleanser. The cleanser part you can use, honestly, you can use any facial cleanser that's not like too astringent. The ones I named are pretty good and pretty cheap that you can get from Amazon. But cleanser isn't the most important thing. So I would argue this next stuff I'm about to say is more important. So next thing you want to use is some sort of serum that has a. Sorry, there's something in my teeth. Also, I'm changing my answer because I actually use a lot of skincare, so I'm trying to I'm trying to create like a minimalistic skincare thing. I think it would be good to have some sort of exfoliation based product. Okay, so usually you can either do it on the toner phase or the serum phase, but you want something that has BHA. Okay, Paula's Choice is the popular one. It's like 2% BHA. Do you use that, like start by using that like once per week. But for most guys, naturally we'll have more oily skin. We can probably like up it eventually to like every other day. Or if you're crazy like me, like you use it every day. But if the Paula Choice is too expensive, you can use the Naturium 2% BHA. All these stuff you can look on Amazon. Just type in like BHA exfoliator toner, right, or something like that. But okay, so once you have your exfoliation, so you have your cleanser, you have exfoliator. I would recommend a serum for like managing the acne scars. So for me, I wouldn't say actually getting pimples is the big concern I have. It's more like the acne mark after you get the pimple. You know what I mean? Like I tend to get like very like dark marks after I get after like my pimple has already gone away, right? So it's already flattened, it just like turns dark, right? So something to manage it is vitamin C. That's where vitamin C comes in, okay? Now, my favorite vitamin C serum you can use every day during the day is the Goodall Vita C serum. It's like it says tangerine in it or something like that. It's like a yellow little bottle with a green cap. That is a really good serum in my opinion. And if you pair it, this is getting extra. You don't have to do this, but if you pair it with you pair it with alpha arbutin, vitamin C and alpha arbutin really goes really well together. I would pair it with the Beauty of Joseon alpha arbutin, the glow deep serum or something like that. And then lastly, okay, so it's like you wash your face, you put on the exfoliator, you put on the serum. Now you need a moisturizer. This is the last step, okay? Don't worry, this is the last thing. Now with the moisturizer, honestly, you're gonna have to like try out a bunch of different moisturizers to see which one you like the most. Everyone has different preferences. Okay, so some moisturizers are like more thick and oily. Others are more like creamy and dry. Some of them are like very hydration focused, right? So like they feel light, but like they're like wet. Okay. Now, most guys naturally have oily skin. I have extremely oily skin. Okay. Like my skin's super oily. So I don't need anything creamy. I don't need anything thick. But at the same time, I noticed as I got older, I have what's known as oily dehydrated skin. Okay. So there's a difference. This might sound like oxymoron, but there's a difference. So oily skin is excess sebum. Sebum is like skin oil, right? Excess secretions of my face, right? Oil. Now, the hydration piece is water content, all right? Either in or under the skin. I'm not too close to the science, so it's just like the water, okay? As you know, water and oil, completely different things, right? Now, when you have oily dehydrated skin, generally, for me, I find that the moisturizers that say hydration on it tend to do better for me. I actually like the see for the longest time I wanted to use something very like dry and light, okay? Thinking that would help with my oily skin, okay? Trust me, I used to be way oilier than this. But as I realize, right? I'm actually better off using a very wet and hydrating moisturizer that is also relatively light. Okay, so it's not that oily, not that creamy, not that thick, but is very hydrating and it's wet. And that wet look dissipates after, because it's water, right? It kind of like dissipates as the day goes on. Plus, if I'm using a sunscreen, I have my favorite sunscreen is like the Revectin. It used to be called the Revectin, like the Revectin SPF plus. It's the Revectin sunscreen. It's I don't. You can probably just look up Revectin sunscreen and find it, but it's a mineral sunscreen. I find that mineral sunscreens work better on oily skin in general, because it actually like leaves a matte finish. So it's like how it works is like I put everything on and I put the moisturizer on that's wet, so it's like my face is kind of wet, but then I put on the sunscreen that's mineral and kind of like mattifies everything, and then I'm left with this. Tyler the Ranter. All right, yeah. For those that care about skincare, that was some. I dropped some really good knowledge bombs. Like I would say I know more about skincare than most girls. Okay, because I dealt with I dealt with bad acne. It wasn't like very very severe, but it was definitely moderate acne. I would get cystic acne, and I hated it. I hated it so much, right? So at one point in time, it was like my life goal to get rid of my acne without using Accutane, right? For me, I was always like, I want to be natural. I'm like, I never want to hop on Accutane though. So I basically what I did with fitness, I took the time to learn and research about skincare, and that's how I know all this stuff. But yeah, bro, I'm like, I actually at one point in time I thought about making a skincare channel too. So yeah. Nah, bro, men need to focus more on skincare. I agree, dude. And I feel like the thing with skincare is like, I think there's a stigma with men, like they don't want to like look up, they don't want to look for it, right? So it's like, you look at a workout video, no one really cares, right? No one's gonna bat an eye if you're watching like, Jeff Nippert or myself or Mike Israel, Greg Doucette. But I do know like it kind of takes most, especially young people, especially the demographic of guys that will get acne, which is usually like teens. They probably feel a way about watching like a skincare video that's like all girls talking, right? It's like a group of girls talking. The bottles are like pink and everything, right? So yeah, I think it's an open market, man. Maybe let me know if I should make a skincare channel. Thing is, I don't have anything near perfect skin. I still break out, especially when I go to Thailand. Dude, my skin gets so bad just because all the pollution and all the sweat. Tyler, can you say all that again? I wasn't listening. Different gel. Yes, retinol. So Angry Mango says different gel is good for breakouts. Yeah, so I hear that different or retinol in general is also good for acne, or retinoid, which is basically the stronger version of retinol. And I actually use different, but low key, dude, like I don't know if it makes a difference. Like I just use it. I'm just so used to using it but I don't know like if it actually helps or not. But apparently, different does help, right? And I think it's good to have some sort of retinol / vitamin A / retinoid in your routine. So what I would do here is like, I know I'm giving you guys a lot of products, right? So there's a cleanser, there's a serum, there's an exfoliator, there's a moisturizer, and there's a sunscreen. Sunscreen is super important too, especially for not getting acne scars. So whoever asks about acne, sunscreen, if you want to avoid getting acne scars and dark marks, like, like a dark spot on your face after the acne goes away, you definitely want to use sunscreen every single day. Every single day you want to use sunscreen. Okay. Every, daytime. But what I was gonna say was I forgot. Oh, retinoid. So what I like to do is with different, you don't want to use it during the day. It's better to just use that at night. Oh, am I glitching? Oh no. Okay, there we go. You definitely don't want to use that at night. Or you don't want to use it during the day. So what I would do is I would use the vitamin C during the day. And then the different at night. Okay. Sorry. I'm like looking at myself because I don't know if my thing's glitching. But yeah. And that's what I'll say about skincare. So hope you guys like that. What video games do you play, Tyler? I don't play any video games anymore, but the games I used to play, so way back, GTA San Andreas. So I like GTA in general. Call of Duty. So the main multiplayer game I play was Call of Duty. Like all the way from COD 4 back in 2007, all the way up to like, I stopped playing. So I actually quit gaming in 2020. I forgot to tell you guys this, but yeah, I like, basically I started posting on TikTok. I got to 10,000 followers on TikTok, and I was like, okay, I'm going to stop playing. Like, I'm not going to play video games again until I said to myself, I'm not going to play video games. I'm not going to play video games again until I'm a millionaire. That's what I told myself. But yeah, so I don't play video games because I'm not a millionaire. It's kind of funny because I outed myself. But yeah, so Call of Duty was so fun. But also, I forgot the third game I like playing, Dark Souls. So, dude, like every so often, it happens like twice a year. I see some like Elden Ring gameplay or like some clip, and then like I get so much FOMO, bro. So much FOMO from watching Elden Ring because I want to play it so bad. But yeah, I just don't. Who needs skincare while you can eat clean and live clean? See, there's 3 quadrants, right? Like, especially for those that are prone to acne. Like, yeah, you should eat clean. You should have the diet down, but you should also have the hygiene down. And then lastly, you want to have the skincare down. It really does make a difference. It's like saying like, oh, all you need to do to build muscle is like eat a good diet, bro. You just gotta eat more protein. Well, no, that's not true, right? You need to work out as well. This is kind of like the same idea. Bro started to mature up. Yeah, I guess so. The last video game I played actually was Red Dead Redemption 2. I finished the game, shed a little tear at the end because I completed it, and I gave the game to I literally just gave the game to my friend. And now my friend, he moved to Bulgaria. So like I'm definitely not getting that game back. You're gonna enjoy Elden Ring so much. You would need that. Yeah, right. What's the best exercise for each muscle group? Oh, that's too long, but that's a video idea. Any weird interaction stories with people when you record your videos? I had a couple times people got mad because I record in public gyms, but I'm usually very good at it, right? Like, cause like I try to be like I don't put my camera in the way. I literally just mind my own business, right? I put my camera down and I get in and get out. Like I'm pretty efficient. Like a lot of when I like meet up with other content creators, like all my friends, they tell me they're like, "Dang, you're like really quick with it," right? So I honestly try to be like super respectful and as like honestly as uninvasive as I can be with a big camera out in the middle of a gym. Um, but I had a couple. I had okay. I had one guy right. That like he would just see my camera. He would be nowhere near me, right? Nowhere near the shot. He's like across the gym, but he sees me with the camera and he complains every single time. Okay, and it got to the point, and like the staff at my gym knows me, right? And they know I'm not like there to mess around with people. I'm not pranking anyone. I literally put the camera in the corner, right? Um, so like they kind of like they were over it too, right? Because this guy would literally like complain every single time. I like the minute I pull out my camera, right? I even like I went up to him one time and I told him like, yo, like, you know, is there like I'm sorry, do you feel a way if I have my camera out? And he's like, yeah, you shouldn't be recording here. I'm like, look, like there's a gray area policy that allows, you know, if I'm not disturbing anyone, if I don't include anyone in my shot, then I can record, right? Like, and look, no one else, literally no one else in the gym is complaining, right? So what ended up happening was this guy like complained to corporate, but obviously he didn't do anything. Um, and then eventually he just stopped going to the gym and he went to another location because one time I went to a different location, um, and I saw him again. I was like, "Hey, what's up, buddy?" But I think so. Yeah, I think that was it wasn't like a crazy interaction or anything, um, but like, yeah, he just kept complaining, man. I get it. I mean, everyone's, you know, yeah, might end up on a Joey Swole TikTok. No, for real. But the thing is, like I'm very like respectful, okay? If someone says like, you know, I like, yo, like, you know, I'm not comfortable with having that camera right there. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's cool. And, like, I literally go to the other side of the gym, right? Um, or I go to the gym when it's like not busy. But I'm very, like, very, very respectful and reasonable when I'm recording. So, any encouraging words for me, Tyler? I just got my tripod and camera, but I'm scared to start. Yeah, man. I mean, biggest part is just be consistent, right? So whatever content you can create that will allow you to be consistent, meaning you probably enjoy what you're creating, is getting you some sort of traction. And it's like not too big of a project, right? So it's not too much editing and stuff like that. That's why I would recommend when you're starting out. Do you do anything outside of YouTube? I coach, so I'm a fitness coach, online fitness coach. So. Hey, thank you for your videos. They help me become stronger and a better looking person. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you. And that is very true. You're a better looking, stronger person for sure. Bro's gorgeous. Congrats on 1 million. Any general tips about restarting certain movements after an injury? For example, in my case, injured my lower back, deadlifting monthly, and hesitant to. Yeah, yeah. And thank you, by the way, Austin. But yeah, I'm actually dealing with this myself because I hurt my rear delt actually. It's like how you might be wondering like how do you hurt a rear delt? Well, I was doing the high to low, my favorite high to low cable rear delt flies, but I was kind of like exaggerating the range of motion a little bit too much along my arms across, and weight was pretty heavy. I didn't warm up, or I didn't take enough time to warm up. I did warm up, just not enough, and something kind of just happened. But I think the biggest thing, right, is like you don't just like go back using the weight that you were using before. Okay, and chances are, you know, if you got the lower back injury from deadlifting specifically, then like I think like you shouldn't be thinking about going back to the heavy weight anyways because chances are your form was kind of off. Okay. So I think big thing you can do is record a video of yourself working with like way lighter weight. And I'm talking about like, I like to be ultra conservative, right? So for that entire first month back, like I think even a month is kind of like a short period of time. But if you feel like you're in a place where you can start deadlifting again, use like 50% of the weight you were doing before. Hard enough for you to have to like struggle a little bit to keep good form, just so you kind of like ingrain the ability to keep good form as the weight gets heavier. But know that like swallow your pride and know that you're not really going to be training to build muscle at this point, right? You're trying to get back to you're trying to learn a movement correctly this time, right? So I would say record a video yourself working with this lighter weight, and go really take your time getting back to the weight you were doing before. Okay. So this likely means working a slightly higher rep range. I would say control the eccentric, but like in the case of a deadlift, you definitely don't want to control the eccentric, right? So we just go up and kind of come down with the weight, but don't focus on trying to like softly lower it. I know a lot of people can hurt their back doing that. So yeah, that's what I would say there. And then obviously with the videos of when you record yourself, right, you'll be able to either if you have a friend that like is familiar with these kind of things, like basically proper form, have them take a look to make sure your form is solid. Or if like you can honestly, sometimes it just might be the case where it's like you see in the video, you feel like your back's not rounding, but in the video you see yourself that your back is rounding, then that would be very clear. Like, okay, I'm doing something wrong here, right? So. What made you want to start your content creation journey? That's a really good question. What made me want to start? I think so. I'm an only child, right? So growing up, like I spent a lot of time on YouTube by myself, and I was just like watching all kinds of stuff. I used to watch like gaming stuff, and then what else did I watch? It's like gaming. Honestly, after gaming though, next big thing I watched was like workout videos. It started out with like healthy eating first. Because I was scared to get a kidney stone. So back in 7th grade, I read a statistic saying that like every man, the average male in their life would experience a kidney stone. But I also heard that kidney stone is one of the most painful experiences like you can possibly go through, right? So in my head, I'm like, oh, I don't want to eventually get a kidney stone, right? I was drinking a lot of soda at the time too, and they said soda would increase your likelihood of getting kidney stones. So I stopped drinking soda after that. This is 7th grade. And then at the same time, I joined track and field, and I wanted to like be more fit, right? So I started doing ab workouts. So I'd Google, like home ab workout 5 minutes, something like that, beginner ab workout, whatever it is, right? And really, like at least in the early stages when I was in high school, like the reason I got into lifting and the reason I was able to, get to where I achieved some sort of progress was really because of the videos on YouTube. Like even if the quality of the information wasn't perfect, like Mike Chang, I watched a lot of Mike Chang. I know his 6-pack shortcuts, right? I know the info wasn't the best, but it really inspired me to like get into working out. And the thing about working out is like it completely changed my life, right? Because I was a very skinny kid. Outside of like getting good grades, I didn't really like have hobbies, right? Sure, I did track and field, but like, I stopped doing track and field in college. So if I didn't have lifting, I probably would have had an identity crisis. So yeah, I think working out, what it did for me was it kind of proved to me that like, okay, like if I really put my mind to something, I can achieve it. Right. And I think that idea and the confidence to just like truly believe that was true made such a big impact on my life that when I was in college trying to think of, okay, what do I want to do for my career? At the back of my head, even though at the time where I'm like, oh, it's unrealistic and stuff, was always, dude, like one day I would love to be a YouTuber. Like I would love to share information, right? So for me, it was never like, I never really wanted to be like a personality content creator, that type of thing. Like, oh, like vlogs and stuff like that. More for me was like, dude, I wanted to like, it would be so cool to teach other people like stuff I learned throughout my life. Right. Just because it was so impactful for me. So that's really why I got into content creation. And partly, I guess part of that is in college. I didn't really know what I want to do in my life, to be honest. So, bro, how do I train post sickness, like a viral fever or something? So make sure you're very hydrated. Make sure, so this is like while or post, yeah, after you're, so considering that you're healthy and well now, right? Ease into it. Make sure you're hydrated. Make sure you eat well when you're working out, and you're just like gradually get into it, right? Don't expect your strength to be at 100%. So don't don't expect yourself to go setting PRs and stuff. And just, again, like first couple weeks, maybe take a little chill, just do the movements, go throughout the entire workout, but like obviously don't like push all the way to failure, right? Any advice on heavyweight guy, 320 pounds? I want to get fit, but afraid to get saggy. Any tips? Yeah, Albert. So I think you're talking about like, yeah, like getting saggy skin and stuff. Now, like I personally, I'm not expert at this, but I think the slower you take the weight loss, generally the safer you're gonna be with the saggy thing, worrying about saggy stuff, right? But at the same time, I also like don't want you to worry about that at all, because like you are gonna love yourself. Like you're gonna be like so much. You're gonna prefer being at a healthy weight over being at a healthy weight while maybe having a little bit of loose skin versus you being where you are right now. And maybe you just don't know it, right? Because from a health perspective, like I would tell you right now, being at 320 pounds, it's not healthy, right? It's just not going to be, you're quite literally shortening your life. So if you have anything if you have any like, what do they call it? Like compass to kind of guide you throughout this process and keep motivation, it's the fact that like you're doing this to save your life, quite literally. So what I recommend, right, is the good news here is you don't need to do any like drastic diet or like you don't need to do keto, carnivore, all this crazy stuff, right? All you really want to do is slowly get into exercising a little bit more, moving more in general, and slowly eating healthier foods. Okay. So it might start out with like eating less junk food, right? So instead of eating chips, like you'll be like, no, you know what? No, I'm gonna save this for having a nice full meal. Okay. So snacking a little bit less throughout the day with junk food. Okay. And if you're gonna eat junk food, you can find replacements. Let's say something healthier like beef jerky, or if you like sweets, something like fruit, right? Fruit's an amazing thing because it's lowering calorie. And then for your meals, try to prioritize more protein and more vegetables. Okay. If you're prioritizing those kind of foods, naturally, it's going to be easier for you to be in a deficit at the end of the day. And like this is not to say that you can't eat any carbs. It's just like prioritize the protein and vegetables first, and then have some carbs into it, right? Have some rice, have some potatoes, but keep a big picture like that. And you're going to find that like over time, you're going to enjoy the food that you eat. Okay. So like experiment around, like there's plenty of recipes. If you look up like healthy recipes, this sort of thing, there's plenty of stuff on the internet nowadays. But just know that like, take it gradual, right? Aim to lose at most 1% of your body weight per week, right? So roughly 3 pounds per week. And then once you get into the 200s, aim closer to 2 pounds, that sort of thing. And pretty much, you do that for, I would say over the period of like, maybe like a full year. Give yourself like a full year. You're going to get in a much healthier place. Yeah, it just takes time. So. Oh, I'm gonna answer one more question before I hop off. I'm losing my voice. John Marston asks, any advice for having, no, sorry. What's your favorite exercise of all time? That's a good question. My favorite exercise of all time. Not gonna lie, right now, it's a tie between unilateral dumbbell preacher curls, the standing version, or a lying cable lateral raise. And this is not me just trying to get you to do the lying cable lateral raise, but like, dude, there is a reason why I'm willing to have people stare at me and think, what the hell is this kid doing? For the sake of getting gains, right? Like that lying cable lateral raise is literally the best way to train your side delts. Like, it's crazy. So, yeah. Can you really build muscle without bulking? Yes. And I don't mean newbie gains or biorecomp. Well, I mean, biorecomp is building muscle, but likely like if you're not unless you're extremely lean, you probably will body recomp if you don't bulk and you like lift, right? So it's they kind of go hand in hand a little bit. But let's say, if because like when you're in maintenance, like let's be honest, you're really not eating at exactly maintenance. You're either a little bit above or a little bit lower, right? And maybe over the long term, some days are up, some days are below maintenance. It equalizes to your maintenance calories, but like, yeah, like you're able to build muscle without bulking. There's a really good study. I highly recommend you Google. I know you probably don't want to read a study, so look up. Wolf Coaching made a video. I think it's called like "Is Bulking Dead" or something, right? Check that video out. There's a really cool study that compared the progress that was made from 3 groups, right? One group eating at maintenance, one group eating at 5% above, 5% surplus, which is almost essentially maintenance, just a little bit above. And then third group was 15% above. So that's, you can consider that like a full bulk, right? And in the study, the results still showed that with the with the maintenance group, you still can make progress. Okay, which essentially kind of proves that you can build muscle without bulking. Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Thank you all for 1 million subscribers. That is crazy, man. That's crazy. Couldn't have done it without you guys, like quite literally. And I don't know how long you were watching this, but I mentioned like, dude, it was my dream to be a YouTuber, man. I watched so much YouTube growing up. Sometimes I have to stop and really like, it never really crossed my brain because I'm always like, I film a lot of videos, right? Um, and I'm working all the time. So sometimes it's crazy to stop and think like, wow, like me from, 5-10 years ago, really, this was my dream, right? And the fact that I'm here gives me goosebumps. So to many more great videos, to many more helpful content I'd like to provide to y'all. Thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for all the support, all the love. It's crazy how many of you guys even just stopped in to watch the stream. So with that said, I will continue on with the videos. I will continue trying to make as good of content as I can. And you guys just have to promise me one thing, okay? The one thing you got to promise is to like the video. No. The one thing you have to promise me is you're never going to fall off your workout. Okay. That's so lame. You're never going to fall off your fitness goals. No matter what, you're always going to continue to work out consistently and eat relatively healthy, or at least try to do that. Okay. Give me that promise. And my job here really is, really would be done. So reading the comments right now. Thank you guys. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me know if you guys like the live streams too. Perhaps I'll do them more often. What does eating healthier really mean? All right, I just got to answer this. What does eating healthy really mean? Low carb? No, it doesn't mean low carb. Eating healthy means prioritize unprocessed foods. That's like, I think just giving that general advice is pretty good. So, if you're prioritizing lean sources or protein, they're in, chicken breast, pork tenderloin, tofu, right? Vegetables, fruit, potatoes, rice. So you can consume carbs. Just more natural foods in general. They're going to be more micronutrient dense, and you're just going to feel better in general. So, is Thai food healthy food or not? No, I'm gonna keep fumbling myself and get into these questions, man. Is Thai food healthy? It depends on what you're eating, right? If there's lean sources of protein and there's a lot of vegetables in it, it can be healthy, but it's not necessarily healthy. I would say it depends on the dish, right? But I think as a whole, I'm gonna leave it at this, right? As a whole, the healthiest cuisine for those that are trying to diet more, okay? So for those trying to lose body fat, the healthiest cuisine you can eat, in my opinion, is Vietnamese cuisine. Like Vietnamese cuisine is actually very lean, and it leans generally lower fat. But steamed food, yeah, that's a good one. Chicken rice, that's a good one. But all right, guys, I'll see y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in.